Welcome to another video. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to install the Wilwood brakes on the 71 Challenger RT Special. Stay tuned.
Music bed.
Okay, so I have all of the parts here from Wilwood. You can get this kit. So the only difference is the spindle that I have is a Mustang 2 spindle that came with the QA1 kit. And so when I ordered the brakes, they have to be for this spindle. Now they do sell the kits for the Challenger, you know, the factory spindles. Everything is going to be pretty much the same except the bracket that holds the caliper. That's going to be specific to the other spindle, which is the factory one. So keep that in mind. And you know, we have the instructions here. Just follow your instructions step by step. It gives you all the torque specs, so you'll see kind of how I do that as I move along. But first things first, I'm gonna take this tape off of the spindle that I had put in here, so that if it rained, I didn't want the spindle to get rusted or anything. So I'll take this off and then I'll start getting my bracket in there. Okay, so here's my caliper bracket. So this has the bolt hole here on the bottom, and it has the bolts. Now when you have your kit, you get all these bolts, so make sure you go through your list, make sure everything is there. But it has these washers that are gonna go in here, and then let me see if I can move the spindle here a little bit. And I'm moving this in because I can see I might have to shorten this shaft here just because it's pointing out a little bit. I know the other side was also pointing out a little bit, but I can move it a little bit here, no problem for now. But anyways, you have your hole here that the bolt goes through. Okay, and then the other screw, this is gonna go like this. The other screw comes through and bolts right in here. So I'm gonna put a little bit of Loctite. So they do recommend red Loctite, I believe, on all of these. I only have blue, so I'm gonna put blue. I'm sure I'm gonna have these off multiple times anyway, so I'll get some red thread locker and put it in there after. But we'll go ahead and just put a little bit here on the bolts. I'm gonna get a socket that fits this. pretty much you just need basic tools for this. So you will need a torque wrench to torque everything to specs. And on the bracket here it shows 55 foot-pounds. Not too tight. There we go. £55 So that's the first step here. Second, we get our wheel hub here. So this is the hub that comes from Wilwood. Has a nice cap on here. And with most of these, you do have the two bolt patterns on here. So I believe this is a 4.5 and also a 4.75. So you have to make sure, because they have the studs are kind of like bolts that go on this hub. You know, on the factory spindles and all that, they're pressed in. These are actual bolts. So make sure whatever wheels you're going to go with. On my case, I know I'm going to go with the 4.5. But it's nice that it has two, because if you like a wheel that's got a larger bolt pattern, you can always just switch it. The only difference is on the back, right? If you don't have that bolt pattern there, you're going to have different, but keep that in mind. That would also help whatever rear end you're going to use. I guess you can always get the different you know, shafts for it, and that's gonna dictate, you know, you can match these to the back. So different things that you can do with these, but just make sure you know which ones. I know mine are gonna be the ones that are a little bit closer in, because it's the 4.5, and I will go and double check on the other side, make sure it matches before I finish tying these up. Don't want to get them on there and find out I did them wrong. So and these are torqued to 77 foot-pounds. Now on this one, because it's just the hub by itself, I might go inside and just kind of put it on my engine stand, just that way I can kind of hold it and tighten it real quick. So I'll step away and do that off camera here. You just want something to hold it. So but what I'm gonna do is I threaded them in pretty much almost all the way. I'm gonna put a little dab of thread locker on here. On this one it doesn't show to use thread locker, but I'm just gonna put a little bit so it holds it to the hub. Gonna put a little bit thread locker, go check my pattern, and then go and torque them down real quick. Okay, went ahead and got the studs all torqued down to 77 foot-pounds. We're ready for the next step here. So the next step is actually going to be to put the inner bearing on here. comes in the kit. Here's the bearing. Gonna get some high temperature grease and pack this bearing in. I have the bearing packer, which I showed before on other videos, but you know, honestly, I just do it by hand. I don't know why I bought it if I don't really use it that much, but just when you're putting the grease, make sure you're forcing it in through the bearing, not just wiping it on top. So you want to push it in, you want to make sure it goes inside, so that you know, those bearings have grease on both sides of there. So I like to put some right here to the edge. Just pack it in there. So you want the grease to go through, and you can see it start coming out through the or the outside or inside of the bearings. But and then I'm just gonna put some grease here on the hub that's already installed in the. It already has the wheel bearing race installed in here, so I'm just gonna put some grease in there. You don't want to fill this whole hole with grease, because remember, the spindle goes through there. So, and then we'll put the bearing in there. Make sure that turns easily. And then we'll wipe our hands here. Just get yourself some high temperature wheel bearing brake grease. Alright, once the bearing is in there, we get our wheel seal. That's going to go in here. We can get you a wheel bearing race and seal installer like this to hit it. Helps to make sure it goes straight. And you can tell once it's flat, I mean, you know, it's gonna be bottomed out. And then I'm just gonna rub some of this grease that's already kind of in there around the seal surface here, the lip. Just a little bit. Make it get a little dab more and put a little bit more here. So. Alright, so now we're gonna put this aside for just a second here. And we're gonna get our rotor and the rotor adapter. This is your rotor adapter. I think a lot of people call this like the hat. And then we'll get our rotor. I went with the 12.19 brakes on this one. They do make, I believe, these are the 4-piston version. They do make a, I don't know if I think they make a 13, a little bit bigger ones. They also make a 6-piston kit. These were more in my price range, I would say. 13-inch or the 6 rotor ones are quite a bit more expensive, and I have even smaller ones because these are 12.9. I think the ones on my Mustang are like 11, and they stop very well. So I figured these are 12-inch. The back factory ones that I'm going to be putting on there on that Explorer rear end are pretty much 12-inch rotors too. So I figured 12-inch rotors all around should be pretty good for what the car is going to be used for, pretty much, you know, daily drivers. So anyways, we want to make sure that this is oriented the right way. So this has to go recessed like this, image this way. And the instructions show you a picture, they also show you a diagram, the exploded view, so it's shouldn't be bad to get them in the right way. These are the screws that we're gonna use, so these are Torx, so I'm just gonna make sure I have the right torque socket here, and then put a little bit of Loctite on them. Alright, so put those in here, and these are 25 foot-pounds, so not too tight actually. I guess they just kind of hold that together. So 25 foot-pounds. I'm gonna go grab my adapter so I can go from this 1/2 inch to the 3/8. So I'll be right back. Alright, went ahead and got my adapter, and I already went through and torqued these, but if you don't have someone helping you, just kind of hold them. Makes it a little bit harder if you're by yourself, but $25 foot-pounds, it's pretty light, so. All right. So with that one done, we're gonna mount this to the hub, 45 foot-pounds, so that's a little bit tighter. So it looks like this goes this way, like this. We'll look at our diagram just to make sure. So that goes right like that. And we'll use these bolts for this one. And so same thing, I'm just gonna put some thread locker in here. Alright, so now these are locked, tying up to 45 foot-pounds. So they're going to be a little bit harder to get tied up by myself. So let me see if I can maybe hold the rotor this way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and held this with my engine stand, just with the bolts here, and that way I can tighten it up. So I'll be right back. Alright, so went ahead and got those torqued. So next what we're going to do is pack the outer bearing, which is the little one here, with grease. Get ready to install in the hub. Gonna grab some grease, start working it in the bearing here. Make sure I'm pushing it in. So it goes through to the inside. Okay. I'm just going to put that aside for a second. And wipe my fingers here. At this point, I'm just going to switch on my gloves, they're all ripped. Okay, so at this point we're ready to slide the rotor and hub into the spindle here. Okay. And then what I like to do before I put this bearing in there, I do like to put some grease in here. And that's just going to ensure there's enough grease inside for both bearings. You know, once it's hot, the grease kind of gets a little bit more liquid and it travels inside of here. So this will ensure there's enough grease to lubricate both of those bearings. Pretty much the grease that you put in the bearing initially is enough, but you know, putting that little bit extra just ensures that there's enough grease in there. Now you don't want to put too much, because a lot of times that makes it, you know, just want to come out. So if it doesn't come out the front cap, it's gonna come out this back on the seal. So, but just put a little bit extra in there. You can make a guess, I guess. This is the washer that comes with the kit, and that goes next here. And then with the QA1, this is the nut and the washer. Now this is the washer that comes with the QA1 kit, but as you can see, it's a little bit bigger, and it's a little bit bigger than the one with the Wilwood brakes, so use the Wilwood one. The nut, you can use the one that comes with the kit here, and that was with the QA1. You can use the factory one, or you know, whichever one. The Wilwood kit does not come with the new nut, so you have to use whatever you have. And then on this one, it doesn't give you any specs. It says to go with original equipment. What I like to do is I tighten it up a pretty good amount, not super tight, like, you know, just with one hand. Make sure it's still spinning. Tighten it up a little bit more, and that just seats everything together, the bearings. And then I loosen it to go back to the next slot for my cotter pin. And that should be pretty much just snug right there. So, and then I'm gonna put the cotter pin in here. You want to fold this around just that way it's doesn't let that nut back out. And the nice thing with Wilwood, they have this thread-on dust cap here, so they work really well. They have a little O-ring that keeps them from really backing out, but they're pretty easy to take off. So that's really nice. Alright, so we got the brakes done. I'm just gonna throw this trash and then we'll put the caliper here. Okay, so the next step is going to be to install the nice calipers here. And so this is what comes with the kit. These are pretty cool. The red, they took off the red paint where You know, it has kind of like bare aluminum for the letters. The ones on my Mustang have raised letters, so they're a little bit different. Anyways, these are going to be bolted right in here. And the main thing that you want to do per their instructions is you want the caliper to be centered on the rotor. So from what I can see, this one it's pretty good with no shims. If you need to, so the kit, you know, you have your bolts here, but there's some of these shims, and so you can put them on the face of the caliper here to make it go farther in. From what I could see, and I'm just gonna tighten it up real quick just without anything, but it looks like it's pretty centered, just touching the face there. So so I think on this one I'm gonna put one shim now that I have it tied down all the way. I think one shim would be good. You also have these washers here that you put on the actual bolts. And before I put any thread locker, I'm just gonna double check. That with one shim it's center pretty good, and it's not gonna be 100%. Like, I mean, I guess you can measure it, but it just has to be pretty centered there. So from what I can see, that looks pretty good. That being said, I'm gonna put a little bit of thread locker on these. And these bolts get tied to 40 foot-pounds. So there you have it. That's everything installed on there. The last thing that we're gonna do is install the brake pads. These are the easiest brake pads to install. You have this cotter pin here. You literally just slide them in. Put the cotter pin back in. Now normally you'll bend this cotter pin so it doesn't come out. Since I'll probably have these out before the car is running, I'm just gonna leave that rubber band for now. I do still, with the Wilwood brakes, you do want to do stainless steel lines, which they sell the pair, just because that's what you need with these to mount and everything. So I need to order those, and I still need to do the whole brake system, run new brake lines and everything. So once I do that, you know, when I know that I'm gonna need to use them, I'll bend this cotter pin a little bit and then be ready to go. So that's it. That's the installed Wilwood brakes on a Challenger. Hope you guys liked the video. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.